I woke up to the refinery glow, feeling my hands still running low. Blueprints stacked on the bench again. Every new fix just leads to 10. Walls go up, then the hunger grows. Another upgrade, another load. I built this place with my own two hands. Now it keeps asking me to stand. I'm tired, but I'm still here, counting every scrap I clear. If I keep my head on straight, it's worth it in the end. Gather the fuel at the edge of town, drag it back when the sun goes down. Research lines on a cracked up screen, chasing what this whole thing means. I upgrade one, then I need two more. That's the kind of life I can't ignore. It's frustrating, yeah, I won't pretend, but I'm not leaving this halfway built. I'm tired, but I'm still here, counting every scrap I clear. If I keep my head on straight, maybe this will turn to fate. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. I keep on building, I keep on bending. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. Every hard day, every slow spend, I tell myself it's worth it in the end. Worth it in the end. Ooh. Worth it in the end. I keep on building, I keep on bending. Worth it in the end, worth it in the end. I've come too far to just give in, so I keep on going, I keep believing. Worth it in the end. Worth it in the end. Your state. Fresh in the gate, bag gear, blank slate. You and your Illuvials, hungry, not great. Boots on the stone, hands on the rail. First slam in the arena, first hard fail. They read your move, then broke your line. One clean strike and you fell every time. Dust on your face, grin still alive. You said run it back just to survive. Round after round you stayed in the fire. Every scar taught you higher, higher. You learned their feints, their breath, their pace. You learned how to lose without losing your place. Round after round you rise. Round after round you rise. They knocked you down, you got back up. Now you drink that pain like a champion cup. Round after round you rise. Round after round you rise. From the floor to the crown, you don't stay down. New scars stacked up on your name, bad brackets, bad draws. Same old shame, your alluvial shook, then stood again. Little by little they learned to win. One move left when the trap got set. One took the hit, never blinked yet. You stopped chasing glory, started to build. Slow hand, sharp heart, iron will. And after round you stayed in the fire. Every fall turned the spark a little brighter. You learned their things, their breath, their pace. You learned how to lose without losing your place. Round after round, you rise. Round after round, you rise. They knocked you down, you got back up. Now you drink that pain like a champion cup. Round after round, you rise. Round after round, you rise from the floor to the crown. You don't stay down. Long nights, long walks back, salt in your mouth, cracks in the track. Then one clean break, one perfect call. Your team moved like one and they took it all. No more panic, no more please, just calm in the blaze, eyes on the keys. The crowd went wild when your name hit high. You looked at the ring like, this is mine, mine, mine. This is mine, 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 mine. Round after round, you rise. Round after round, you rise. They knocked you down, you got back up. Now you drink that pain like a champion cup. Round after round, you rise. Round after round, you rise from the floor to the crown. You don't stay down. Champion, no. You rise. Champion, now. You rise. The bruises were proof you came through. Down, eyes up, we came to play. One last hit, then we all say, close by close, we hold our line. Steel in the breath and fire in the mind. No empty throne, no lone wolf run. Every heart around brings us as one. Hear that shout, it rolls through the floor. One more clash, then we want more. Shoulder to shoulder, we rise in the glow. Tightest fight makes the whole room grow. Stand as one, stand as one. Close battle, still we come. Stand as one, stand as one. We fight hard, then we build this home. Stand as one, stand as one. Every hand keeps lifting someone. Stand as one, stand as one. We play for the league, we play for the bond. Quick right turn, a near miss spark. One clean break, then back to the dark. Tiny margins, big brave hearts. One shared win from a dozen starts. New names, old friends, same battle cry. We learn your moves and we cheer you by. When the dust sets, we stay in the ring. Win or lose, we still fear that shout. It rolls through the floor. One more clash, then we want more. Shoulder to shoulder, we rise in the glow. Tightest fight makes the whole room grow. Stand as one, stand as one. Close battle, still we come. Stand as one, stand as one. We fight hard, then we build this home. Stand as one, stand as one. Every hand keeps lifting someone. Stand as one, stand as one. We play for the league, we play for the bond. From first sparks to final calls, we trade the scars, but we don't fall. Your name, my name, one steady flame. Across this field, we're more than a
Hello, welcome everybody to Illuvium Arena House League. We've got a bunch of awesome competitors here today looking to get their alluvial collection growing just by playing the game. And we're going to be starting things off very shortly with another nearly filled up Carablu Cup lobby. Ownership off is the name of the game here for the Carablu Cup, and then of course ownership on for Monarch Masters a little bit later in the day. Good to see everybody in chat already. We've got this loaded up. Blazing, you were very much so first, my friend, by a long shot, by almost an hour before the stream even started. Ethan, good to see ya. Ballistics, Sota, Awaken, Big Man JB, Dark Star, good to see you all. So this will be a fun one. Let's take a look first and foremost as we are getting our lobby built up. We currently have 4 out of 7 for our Carablu Cup matchup. Robert Tacho, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day here as well. But some somewhat big news here for the as we're going into this Arena House League is the fact that not even, a couple hours ago maybe, we actually got ourselves a balance patch in the Illuvium Arena. So this will be the first competitive setting for this new patch. A couple of the things to note: Behemoths took a whack, Theriax and Scoriox continued to take a whack. They're trying to still make Stage 3 Lynxes a little bit more relevant, and then there were a handful of adjustments to weapons, suit amplifiers, as well as some of the augments, and heck, even some of the affinities. I do not have time to go through that right here, right now, so I'm going to pop this patch notes in the chat right here. So if everybody wants to take a quick peek at this, we can absolutely, or you can absolutely take that for reference. In regards to our very first matchup of the day, we are going to start off in the Carablu Cup. We have one lobby of Carablu Cup, and it will feature Awaken from Mad Dogs, Ethit, Reem, Darkstar, Robert Tacho, Warrior Race, and Ballistics. This might be Carablu Cup. That is still a very strong lobby. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Monarch Masters raid after that. Our first lobby of it will have Kira, Blazin, Gatling, Seiko Perico, Hunter from Mad Dogs, Coyote from Hype, Matter, and then potentially a bump up from the Carablu Cup. We'll see. Then last but not least, our Monarch Masters main event, currently being held by Hector from Mad Dogs. We've got Thanatos. We got Wolverine 77 from Hype. We've got Draknien waking up nice and early here to join us for some House League. We've got Badul, and we've got Sota from Hype in this matchup. So Carablu Cup, y'all are up first. We're going to be getting into your matchup very shortly here. Big Man making the call out right now that they're going to stream Arena later and going to try to make Geyser the carry. I laugh, but it was already not bad. I'm looking forward to seeing what you can cook there, Big Man JB. All right, of the players that were able to make it, Reem did let me know that unfortunately they had to go grab a suit real quick prior to the event happening, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to make it. So we'll have a 6 out of 8. Sorry, Reem, we'll gladly have you in some other time, but we will get started for now. I'm seeing then 6 out of 6. The gang is all here. Let's start this one up, and we'll get into our very first matchup very shortly. Geyser was one of the Illuvials that did get changed in this patch, oddly enough, looking back to what JB was saying. And it's more so in regards to its heal. Its damage didn't get touched whatsoever, but its heal did go up a little bit. But it's nice to see, even though, of course, all the hype right now is around Obelisk Rising and the current playtest, that the devs are still keeping Arena in mind, still making sure that balance changes are coming, while we are anxiously awaiting bigger updates, of course, like feature style updates for Arena. We also are very aware that we just gotta take what we can get, so to speak. That's there's so much on the line there with Obelisk Rising, so we get it, but we love our Arena, and I will continue to enjoy this game as long as I possibly can. So it's 6 out of 8, if I recall, from the last Carablu Cup sessions. Let's kind of show where we pick up where we left off. Of course, the leader currently in regards to all wins in the Carablu Cup, and in fact, in all wins in terms of House League in general, is currently Robert Tacho. They have the most amount of wins, the 8 wins currently in the Carablu Cup, but they haven't had one in a couple of weeks here. This could potentially be the opening that they are looking for to sneak on in and take number 9 potentially. We did see Reem get the win in the D main, the second lobby of the Carablu Cup last week, with Warrior Race in second, but now we have ourselves just a combined big lobby, and last time it was Awaken taking that over Robert Tacho, Ethan, and Zexy. So looking forward to seeing how this one happens. We'll hop into game right here, right now. Give it a couple moments there to load in. There will be 2 bots as a part of this matchup, and then the region that we're going to should actually be a fun one here, because we get to make some bigger teams. We're going over to Sanctum Mesa, where you get 1 additional Illuvial every single, or not every single round, but just 1 additional Illuvial regardless of which level you happen to be in. So let's get into the swing of things right here, right now. We have our Carablu Cup starting things off here. Of course, ownership off. Everybody is playing here on the exact same playing field. While it is awesome to have like your own Illuvials and play with your own Illuvials, for those just starting up and trying to level them up, they still want to enjoy the game and feel like they have a fair fight. And that's exactly what we are doing here with the Carablu Cup. Again, our players here in this matchup, we've got Ballistics, we've got Warrior Race, we've got Robert Tacho, we've got Awaken from Mad Dogs, we have Ethit from Mad Dogs, now changing the name, showcasing the new team, nicely done. And last but not least, for the first time joining us here in Illuvium Arena House League, will be Darkstar. Darkstar might be new to the House League, but it's not like they're new to Illuvium as a whole. I've been seeing Darkstar in the ranked ladder for at least a month or 2 at this point here. So looking forward to seeing what they can do when the field is all evened up. How much experience do they have, and what can they cook here going into this matchup? As we watch this battle come on through here with Warrior Race and Ballistics, let's take a look at the weapons that the players will be using here for this matchup. Ballistics going to be picking up the Lava Gauntlet, so potentially some Inferno Arcanite coming their way. Not going to worry about the bots, but we do have Warrior Ace picking up a first and foremost in classic Warrior Ace fashion. Very fast level 5, so not going straight too far from that one, but picking up the Tempest Lance in this one. That's the Air Bulwark weapon. Darkstar playing towards my heart here. The Emberling Rod coming on through here for maybe some Scion or some Nature play. Awaken going to be picking up the Flame Warden Staff, the Fire Empath weapon. Ethit is also going to be picking up that Tempest Lance, but I know they really enjoy an air team, so we'll see how that goes from there. And then last but not least, Robert Tacho also went for the Lava Gauntlet, so we have 4 potential fire users in this game, 2 potential air, but we'll have to see where it goes from there. There's always plenty of time to get a little flexible here in the arena. As JB was saying here in chat as well, the Colossus, there was a bit of a change to Colossus in this latest patch that just happened again this morning, where instead of it being Thorns and allowing for those tanks to kind of be the carry in terms of damage, they've now just made it a team-wide damage reduction. So the Colossus units might not necessarily be the standouts, but if you have a carry behind that Colossus unit, that might be an incredible setup. Diego Brico, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today's matches is collection off. No, just Carablu Cup. Carablu Cup moving forward will always be ownership off. But then when we get into Monarch Masters, ownership will be back on. Made the change, I think it would have been 2 weeks ago, just to try and simplify it a little bit. If you want ownership on, you're playing in Monarch Masters. If you want ownership off, you can play in Carablu Cup. You tell me which division you want to play in, and then I still try my best to get you into a lobby that is as close as possible gameplay-wise here for you. We were talking up Darkstar a little bit earlier here. Let's see what they're cooking up as they're going up against Awaken. We got the Hyperforce reactor onto this Doka up close and personal, but it does get stunned up quickly. And unfortunately here for the Doka, it is going to run in front of the Graco, meaning it shall be stun locked and taken down. The backline's still firing away, but there is a ton of support here for Awaken. They should be able to clean this up with ease, I would imagine. Emberling Rod's going to finally get rid of the tank, but otherwise, you're still a Lone Ranger up against 4. And they've got heals, they've got shields, they've got pretty much everything they would want to. So Awaken looking to maybe pick up where they left off from last week after winning the Carablu Cup main event. But one of those players trying to thwart that plan from happening, of course, shall be Ethan. It's another one of Carablu Cup's more winningest players. As it stands right now, let me take a look at my sheet here as we're in the midst of a NPC round. Ethan has won Carablu Cup 4 times, and all of those times would have been when ownership was on, so when it was a little bit scarier. And we know that Ethan also nearly got their collection completed, just around the corner with a couple of other standouts. But speaking of which, we're going to go up against Awaken here as well. We'll watch Ethan and see how they do. It's a level 5 versus level 5, looks like. That's the player's position for this next battle. Let's take a look at the economy real quick. Ethan and Robert Tacho both playing heavy into the economy game. They are going to lose some life for it, but 81 and 90 respectively, that's not too bad, all things considered. So having that much credits but not taking too much damage, solid overall. And then Warrior Ace, the player that's probably spent the most for a very fast level 6. Getting into the matchup right now with Awaken and Ethan. Let's take a look. The little Rue diving on through. It does have the Precise Force Reactor as a part of it being on a Rogue. That is a fantastic setup, but unfortunately it did get focused down with rather quick fashion. So with the big damage out of here, it's just relying now on that Totofi and that Flish in the backline to provide the damage. But I feel like we've seen this before. Good damage onto that Archos actually there for Ethan. That Flish nearly bringing it down. But one more shot here from the Totofi. Is that going to be enough? Nope, the Atipo with the shield. So with the heals still in play, there will be another win here for Awaken. Does NFT level not affect the stats of the cards in Carablu Cup now? Nope, not anymore. Carablu Cup is strictly a ownership off mode. If you do want to hop into a ownership on mode, there is Monarch Masters for that, absolutely. So you still have your option, but that was a rather recent change. Let's take a look, see, who haven't we rode along with in a little bit? Warrior versus a bot. Let's try and see if we can have a player versus player. Ballistics versus Ethan. We can do that. All right, Ballistics. What are we cooking here? For the last little bit, Ballistics right on the verge of taking a couple wins, getting some podiums. Looking forward to seeing what they could pull off here. They've already got the Harbinger unlocked. Steam Harbinger seems to be the attempt, but of course, very early game. There won't be any Steam Illuvials available, at least as of yet. And this is looking pretty good, all things considered here for Ballistics. That Kukaloose is just being an absolute menace, shutting down any sort of DPS that was coming out of Ethan's side. Now it's just down to the Flish. It does have the tessellating Omega Reactor for a little bit of extra energy, but with that Omega being single target, it only tickles the links, and that will be the end of that one. Ballistics going to take the win there. All right, we'll take a look and see what Robert Tacho is doing. They're going up against Ethan here as well, so both of our players towards the bottom half of the game, but at the same time, they've been playing a very heavy economy style. I imagine eventually pulling the trigger and getting some incredible pickups will be on the menu here for both these players. We could potentially, like, what are we even cooking here for both sides here? So Ethan, we do have a couple of the monkeys, but I don't see any lesser gorilla or greater gorilla, so this isn't mud. This is like a dust style of Harbinger, but again, there's no Atlas either. Meanwhile, on the side of Robert Tacho, I know they enjoy their Shock, and Shock did just get a buff in this last patch, where every single time the lightning comes down, it actually shreds resistances on top of doing damage. So, making it a little bit more, not just for the sake of damage, but a little bit more utility. But again, Shock's still extremely difficult to try and hit, especially if you cannot find that squiz, considering that is a tier 5 unit. So at level 6, it is going to be a little bit too much to handle. Robert Tacho shall go down. Ethan going to stop the bleeding and get a win on the board. Alright, Awaken going up against the bot. Warrior Ace going up against Ethan. Ballistics and Darkstar. Let's take a look at these two. We did see the pickup now here for, looks like, Ballistics. We do have Harbinger now, or the Harbinger was already online. It's actually more so the fact that there's another one on the bench here. So a potential setup for a tsunami push from Ballistics if they could find a couple more Atlases. They aren't too heavily contested either. In fact, the only other person that has a Axon as of this moment is a player across the arena from them. Darkstar currently has Harbinger online as well. Toxic Harbinger, the classic, very, very strong opener. But a lot of those damage augments for the sign of Ballistics are still onto the Kukaloos. Again, big stuns, but not necessarily known for big damage. We'll see how it goes. The little Rampy that snuck in there did a decent amount of damage before going down. But this is a rather even fight to start things off. But what I'd be concerned about here for Ballistics is that Darkstar's backline has not been touched at all. That TNT has been able to essentially just free fire this entire time. And with Ballistics not having any way to mess with the snail, and the Ranger at the same time, actually, they're going to be able to clean up Ballistics this time. Darkstar with a nice win. Rabertacho down into the 40s in regards to their health left. That's definitely a scary spot to be in. But again, I imagine it's time to pull the trigger sometime very, very soon. Over 90 credits at the start of this round. Level 7. What are they looking to cook? We do see the flare coming on through. Extra little tank to get to that 5 board. So this is looking more so like Mass Scion. But trying to get even to the TNT, it seems to be a little bit of a difficult opportunity or a difficult moment here for Rabertacho to start things off. If we take a look at Ethan, what are they cooking? They do now have Dust online, now that the Revo has joined the squad. And it's just a mixture of rogues and Dust, but at the same time, don't know necessarily where this is going. But it's kind of exciting still. Looking forward to seeing what you're cooking up there, Ethan. Ballistics spending a lot, all the way down to 11, level 7 as well. Let's take a look at Awaken as they're going up against Rabertacho. Let's see what they end up doing. 95 credits here currently for Rabertacho. We're going to get up to level 8. So, I mean, if we're going for Mass Scion, that seems to be the right play. Especially if you can even somehow maybe push level 9. That's where the sweet spot is when you're trying to chase after Squiz, Octius or Aphisto, or any of the pistol shrimps. But at the same time, trying to not go too far so you can still hit some of those tier 3s. It would be a fantastic way to go. Meanwhile, Awaken, looking to put a thorn aside, leading this lobby while also having 70 credits, so they are getting the maximum amount of interest every single round here. They do have Aegis online, and it's all going into, oddly enough, with all these augments just put onto the TNT. The TNT is not necessarily built to be an attack damage carry, but it can do surprisingly effective if all of a sudden it's got a bunch of augments on top of it. So it's doing pretty decently, but it looks like a pretty good spot here for Rabertacho. As long as they can deal with the healers, they do deal with the healers. The double snails coming on through. It's fireworks over here now for Rabertacho. Just a matter of dealing with the big snail. And I imagine as soon as that Fleesh gets him one more shot in, heck, there's 2 Fleesh coming on through, and Rabertacho shall stop the bleeding and finally put an end to Awaken's win streak. Jamie, good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. One thing you enjoy while leveling random stuff is the interesting teams you can end up coming up with. Absolutely. While leveling is a very difficult part of Illuvium just by doing it in the arena, it does force you to get creative, which is sometimes half the fun. Now, Ballistics versus Rabertacho. I want to take a look at this one once more. Or Rabertacho, or actually I want to switch on over here to Ethit and Darkstar. Big old bull in the front though. Curdalock's going to be joining the squad here for Darkstar. The one that they have might be level 1, but of course that does not matter. This is an ownership off mode. So that is still as beastly of a bull as you can possibly get. We see here for Eth that air team has now turned into at least a little bit of shock. And once again, the resistances are shredding. Every single time you see those lightning bolts come down and strike 3, it's just softening up that back line even more to make the next hit just hit that much harder, or soften it up for Squiz to maybe finish the job. But the one Illuvial that's not being softened up whatsoever is this big Carablu in the front. Everything in the back line's getting smoked, but the big bull charges forth. Is going to be right in the face now of the two Scions, and I do imagine once that Emberling Rod procs that will be it. Ethan will take some more damage. Darkstar all the way up to second now after a fantastic win. Level 9 now here for Robert Tacho. I imagine it's got to be go time here for some Scions. Warrior Ace leading the lobby now. Very similar to what we saw last week. Warrior Ace was always near the top. Heck, they were in a dominating position over their first lobby. But then they had a power outage, completely knocked them out of here. They're looking for redemption, but they are a level down now. Of course, Warrior Ace's playstyle is based around some very heavy early spending. So now they're a little bit lower in regards to the economy side of things and on the level side of things. But what they do lack in credits, they do have, at least in terms of power. The Fury in the backline, covered by the Quinks, is doing a great job of keeping it covered. Robert Tacho's squad, they have a lot of firepower in that backline as well. They've got their own Fury now, actually. But they are directly in the face of a Kookaloo. They do have the immunity thanks to the 5 Scions. But 5 Scion, 5 Bulwark is still not enough to hold the line here up against Warrior Ace. So Robert Tacho will now be within kill shot. One more battle still going here. Darkstar was able to take the win over Awaken. As our top two play it out, I do want to ride along here with Robert Tacho, because this very well could be a kill shot if things do not go their way. They do find a Squiz, so they can now start to implement Shock. Heck, they went all the way up to Octius already, so that is a big power spike here for Robert Tacho. They are going up against one of the bots, but at the same time, I don't know. It's level 9 compared to level 10. I think Robert Tacho has this. So we're going to quickly hop over to the battle of our top two and see what's cooking here. We saw both these teams separately, but now let's see what happens when the top two go together. Seaferus, the big snail online here for Darkstar, ready to take a beating and dish just as much of a beating back at you. But now, with there being so much firepower in the front lines here for the side of Warrior Ace, that Carablu is not as successful at holding the line. It's still a very scattered fight. The backline here from Darkstar still looks pretty healthy, though, all things considered. As the front line starts to fall, there is a world, I think, where maybe Seaferus can possibly clutch this out. A big charm stopping that second proc of the Emberling Rod is going to make it so the front line dies a little bit quicker, or a little bit slower rather. And there we go. The Ranger, the Seaferus, they clutch things up, and on their first attempt here in the Illuvium Arena House League, Darkstar is leading this thing. It tied for leading this thing, but they just won the 1v1 and they have that win streak still. If we take a look at the economy during this NPC round, Robert Tacho, of course, down towards the bottom, and they've spent a bunch, but they at least got that Octius. That is a great pickup. Ethan, short to follow in a very similar situation with 25 HP instead. Ballistics has spent the bank. They looked like they were initially going for Tsunami, potentially even going towards the Axodon, but for whatever reason, I don't know what it is about Axodons, but trying to find them seems to be impossible. And then, heck, shoutouts to the bot as well. If there's one thing that bots know how to do, it's play Vanguards, and they are playing that essentially perfectly. They got Malura and Slashin. That's actually kind of terrifying. Meanwhile, for Awaken, they are above 70. They are getting the maximum amount of credits possible every single round. Trying to build some damage now. They've got a crazy tank line. It's just a matter of finding the damage. Warrior Ace now, oddly enough, in a pretty decent spot until a big spend down. Is this for level 9? It is, in fact, going to be for level 9 as they're going up against one of the bots. But let's take a look at Robert Tacho going up against our current lobby leader, fighting for their life. We do have Invokers, though, now online. This is Shock Invoker coming out from Robert Tacho. Big pickup here for the Sin Elf to be able to come on through, especially considering we're going up against a fellow bunker composition. One thing that Darkstar has that Robert Tacho does not is the big stun that comes out from that Fernanite's Twist Wing, as that cast is happening, that Fernite's going to be able to pick right on through, and that was some incredible damage. The Sin-Off on the side of Darkstar as well. I didn't even see it there, but that did so much damage. It took out the Octius, it took out the Sin-Off, and now the only big damage left here for Robertacho, it's all left onto that Furiox, which, to be fair, it is doing some pretty serious damage. This Furiox might be able to clean up that shock resistances. All these Illuvials are actually surprisingly squishy now. Can the Furiox clean this up? It looks like they're going to absolutely be able to do so. There's just enough numbers. The one-on-one, the Ranger versus the Furiox, and Robertacho will not go down just yet. They might have lost both their, or two of their carries immediately, but they're not gone. Not yet. One thing incredibly annoying, though, Etha is also, in regards to Robertacho, trying to go for the Fisto, but at the same time, so is Ethit. The Octius is on the board. And then on the other side, we did see Darkstar had a Sin-Off. So oddly enough, what world is this where Invokers are being contested? Ballistics is also in a bit of an odd spot here as well, going up against Awaken. The big Dodo on board, the Kukaraf looking to potentially still carry. It's got so many Omega augments. It's got the Phase Breaker on top of it as well. Let's see if that will be enough. Get that Riptor into the fray as well. Can it find a spot? It's kind of a little bit stuck. Now it's going to be able to break through from the top. So at least it's away from that TNT that is still built for attack speed. You do not see this very often, but they're trying to make this work. The Wildfire coming on through as that Crunk is leading the charge. And Ballistics, unfortunately, might be going down. The Swarm is here, and that Snail is just firing off fireworks like it's nobody's business. Ballistics will be the first one out of here, unfortunately. GG's. Let's see what happens with Robertacho. A 1-on-3 versus Ethit. But it looks like Robertacho as well will be able to clean this up as long as that Octius can get one more shot off. That is going to be actually the Twine going to clean things up, which is now going to knock Ethit to within kill shot. This is a terrifying scenario now here for Robertacho. This is the full Vanguard team, Predator Vanguard on top of that with Granite. Yeah, this is basically a top level team made by a bot. This will be a tough one here for Robertacho. Then we've got Ethit up against Darkstar. Kind of want to see this one in action, see if the dust coming out here from Ethit can potentially at least slow down that Fernite in the back lines, but it's just a matter of trying to actually get there, and that is super, super tough. The Shock will be there to try and soften them up and hope that that Octius, who's basically the lone damage, I mean, I guess there's the Rogues, but in terms of the big damage, it is all on to the Octius. The first shot's coming on through, not going to eliminate anything. Finally, the Singe goes down. Darkstar's Seaforus is being currently targeted by that Gorilla. It's being an absolute menace. They will be able to deal with it right before that the Octius takes a shot onto the Seaforus. It does not go down. Big shield onto the Seaforus keeps it alive. The damage here on the side of Darkstar is still alive, still going strong, but it's just all on to the Snail. Can the Octius find the right shot? But every single time it has a shot, there is that Empath shield. Played to basically perfection. We will lose two. We knew those bots were going to be scary for Robertacho, given that was a full Vanguard team. So Robertacho shall fall in 6th. Ethit shall fall in 7th. GG's, everybody. I hope you had fun regardless of where you finished. Damn those bots, absolutely. I don't know what it is, but bots, they know how to play Vanguards, and I genuinely do not know why they're so damn good at Vanguard. It's insane. They've beat me too. It's odd, to say the least. But we have our top two currently in action. Warrior Ace going up against one of the bots, I do believe. So let's see. Awaken taking back this top spot ever so slightly. 52-50 as it stands right now. Actually taking a look at the setup, there is Invoker, Harbinger, and 5 Bulwarks all enabled here for Darkstar, alongside a bunch of nature. 6 nature is currently active, so there is a ton of healing just passively on this team. But the one thing that's a little bit different, Hello Beautiful, that is a fully evolved Stoic Terralynx, and with it being the Terralynx, that does mean that there's going to be additional defenses given to Awaken's team every single time that Lynx fires off its Omega. So while it might be getting focused down and might end up getting taken down, the rest of the team is going to be way tankier than you would expect. A lot of efforts, though, onto this Fernite to try and carry. The overtime pulses are going to come on through, but there's just too much damage here coming out from, I believe, the Sephirus. Yep, almost 10k onto that snail. That's going to put Darkstar in the lead. And it doesn't look like Warrior Ace was able to get the win against one of the bots, so now... Unless maybe it was one of the ghosts from either Darkstar or Awaken, I'm not 100% sure. But we can take a look at our current economy situation. Darkstar in control as of this moment, but at the same time, Awaken, 85 credits still to go, with plenty of things that can be upgraded. And more importantly, at least in my opinion, I mean, I know the snake got nerfed, but for once, there are no other snakes on the board. So if there's 100 some odd credits to try and roll a DPS carry, switch those augments over from what was the, it was on the Fernite. Yeah, these augments are onto a Scoriox. That could be devastating, nerf or not. Level 9 there for Awaken as they're going up against the bot. Warrior Ace is also going against the bot, which means we do have the ghost battle here versus Darkstar. So let's take a look and see what Warrior Ace is cooking. With 25 more credits left to go, they are 2 away from finding Phosphorus, which would be an absolute dramatic DPS increase. But do they have enough time? Here comes the Vanguards coming out here from one of the bots. This could be extremely terrifying to deal with. It's a matter of keeping that Forest alive, and that dumb bird loves to run in front of your tanks. As we see here, the Malura is right there. The Rake is tearing on through it as well. Firmino, though, trying to keep it safe, comes through at just the right opportunity. It does look like that unless his Rampite could pull a miracle out, that is going to be Warrior Ace taking the win. The Vanguards are out of here, so that is a blessing, not just for Warrior Ace, but for the rest of this lobby, all things considered. So a big win there. We do have a couple additional battles here. Let's take a look at Awaken. They do win the bot battle. Darkstar, they won their bot battle versus Awaken, it looks like, as well. But granted, that was super close. All right, it's go time. We have Warrior Ace versus Awaken. Awaken up to level 9 now, Singe in play. Warrior Ace did pick up a Furiox for themselves. Of course, there is one there for Awaken at the same time, so like I was saying a second ago in regards to snakes not being contested, well, I lied. There is now 2 onto the battlefield. Awaken still has plenty of coins left, but at the same time, they are not the one within kill shot, so they can play more reserved if they really do feel like it. This is heavily centered now, with it being 7 Bulwark to utilize this Lynx and make this team absolutely unkillable. But we do have Behemoth now online. Behemoth does do a percentage of damage based off of max HP. So the tankier this team doesn't matter, it's all based off of HP. There goes the Grocco, the Jotun, the Big Bear alongside the Forest are going to start the team up and potentially do work here onto this corner. Let's rotate on over and see as that Furiox as well on both sides trying to open fire. That's a good spot here actually for Awaken. Their Furiox did turn and burn onto the Jotun, but is it going to be there with enough time and take out the Bear, the big heal from the Omega? The Cataclysmic Crunch coming on through, giving some additional HP over to that Jotun, and there was plenty of backup where that came from. Warrior Ace, Awaken, now both within kill shot, and Darkstar did win their battle. So, let's see how this happens. Does Darkstar have just too strong of a team to deal with this current setup? Of course, completely full Bulwark, Invoker Harbinger, almost 5 Scion at the exact same time. Awaken, who are they playing? They are also going up against Darkstar. This very well could be the end of the game if either of these players cannot figure out how to crack this bunker. sticks, nature, verdant, granite. There is a lot of defense coming on through here. Meanwhile, here for Warrior Ace, lots of dust. We've got 6 air. But you know what doesn't give a damn about your air and your dodging is a big ol' blast from a pistol shrimp. Let's see how this goes with Darkstar Sinoff in particular. Shots fired, gonna go directly into the Quinks, and it's gonna go away. That was a completely negligible shot, so a good start here for the side of Warrior Ace. But the forest, it is extremely low. It's getting shot at by this Seaforest. One more shot, there it goes. One of the big carries are down. The Jotun's down as well. The only damage left on the side of Warrior Ace is coming from that Furiox, and I think that snail, that the pistol shrimp, would love to just get a chunk at it in just a moment's time. A valiant efforts coming out here from Warrior Ace, but that shall be it, taking them down. Awaken, do you have what it takes to potentially crunch this? You don't, and that means that Darkstar, on their very first attempt here in Illuvium Arena House League, will be a winner in the Carablu Cup. Congratulations there, Darkstar, nicely done. What a start, what a game. Final results of that battle. Again, Darkstar with the heavy bunker composition, with all those Illuvials covered by a fantastic bowl. The Cardalox, big defense there. Warrior Ace with the heavy air team got a fantastic start. A little bit of a low in the middle, but a great push towards the end, locking in some behemoth action, but could not break the bunker. Similar scenario here with Awaken. They went for a very heavy tanky build with the links to buff the team up at the exact same time. I absolutely loved what I saw there, but unfortunately not going to be enough here. We do then have Robert Tacho. Went for the shock. We saw the Octius do so much work, but could not quite close it out. Same here with Ethit. Also went for the Octius, and went for a shock style of build, but going to fall there with Robert Tacho. They were kind of stepping on each other's toes. And then last but not least here for Ballistics, I think they went for Tsunami. They went for the Axodon, and I think was caught rolling for too long. And with that, it kind of stunted their growth a little bit. So GG's, everybody. As always, I hope regardless of your finishing position, I hope you had a fun time here with us. Marking down the results onto my page as we speak. Fourth. All right, there we go. Well, that was a very tough match, absolutely. So with that, I do want to give the offer out to Darkstar first. If you would like, you can take the bump up into the next match. Try your hand in the Monarch Masters. This would be ownership on where the levels and stats do matter. If you'd like to take the opportunity and try to play into this lobby, you're more than welcome to. If you do make the upset and get into the top 4 where the prizes are, you get more additional prizes. You might be potentially punching above your weight class, so to speak, might be the underdog, but if you get it, there's more rewards for you. I will start making the lobby here in just a second here for our very first of 2 Monarch Masters matches. Hector, good to see you. Hope you have a fantastic day. Masters Lobby 1. Again, players here for this matchup. Need to zoom in a little bit. I straight up just cannot see. Let's try that again. I am blind as a bat, apparently. There we go. That's better. All right, Kira. Blazin. Gatling. Zico Perico. Hunter. Coyote Hype. Matter 1. And then our winner from the last game. Darkstar. If you would like to join Darkstar. You do not have to, but you can if you would like. If you do not, please do let me know as well. I'll make the offer to another player as well. I then offered to second place, which in this case would be to Warrior Race. I'd ask Warrior Race if they want to level up. Now, G Hamster could potentially have you in the last match if you'd like. Do you think I could survive Monarch with the level units I have? If Ranger level is 20, the average level is 45. It would definitely be very, very difficult. Like, you would 100% be the underdog. But it's up to you. Okay. Yeah, trying to go for the entire win might be tough, but there is a world, like we've seen it before, where someone's come from Carablu. In fact, it was just last week, right? We had seen Awaken, for instance, get the win in the Carablu Cup, then get third in the first Monarch Masters match, and then get to play in the last one as well. Which did get them some serious alluvial prizing, that's for sure. Yeah, top 4. Like, even if you just get 4th, it's one more pack. That's one more pack of alluvials. So it's definitely worth a shot. Now, my apologies if you can hear some banging. The roofers are back up there, and they're absolutely smashing away, so apologies for that. Hey, like I told you before there, Awaken, nice things won't repeat. You're right. The next time you do it, it'll be much better, right? So it won't be the exact same thing. Which, the bar is already set pretty high. That was a pretty damn good week. Alright, so we've got Darkstar, Zico Perico, Hunter, Blazin, Coyote, Gatling. Just missing Kira and Matter. We'll give them about another 3-4 minutes here, unless they can ping me here on Discord and let me know what's going on. That forced me to have a water break, so I'll be 1 second. You'll give it a shot. Know the chances are slim. Yeah, and that's just it. Like, we know you'll be at the disadvantage, but there's nothing to lose. You've already got some awesome prizes you have for the win in that match. Just from winning Carablu Cup, you do have 5 packs already coming your way for the win. And I mean, if you could somehow sneak in the 4th, I can add you another one. And then I'm also including community rescue points as well. So the community rescue, again, is when I go into, or not I go into, but I scan the account and see what alluvials you're missing. If there are any alluvials you're specifically missing, I'll do my best to help provide a certain amount of them based off of the points. Like each alluvial, if say a tier 1 alluvial, it's 1 point. Tier 3 alluvial, it's 3 points, so to speak. So by helping and joining this lobby as well, you're also going to be eligible for some more community rescues. So you're just going to help level up that team just that much more stronger. I'm always glad to be a bug on the windshield because whatever squashes me makes you stronger. Absolutely. Okay, Matter is on the way. And Kira's here as well. Okay, perfect. So with the gang all here, let's get into our first Monarch Masters matchup. Lobby has been started. And we'll get into that very, very shortly. Of course, I hope everybody's having a fantastic time so far here in Illuvium Arena House League. We do this every single week, every single Friday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time or 7:30 p.m. UTC. And again, my intention is that this is always going to be a free-to-enter event with the intention on building your collection. I love the vibe that we have here where it's like semi-competitive. It's a perfect way for people to kind of get their footing into what a competitive setting for Illuvium can actually feel like without worrying about having financial costs or entry fees or having money on the line in general. So I know as soon as you put actual money as the prizing for an event, the vibe changes very quickly. And I personally love what we've got going on here with Illuvium Arena. Big thank you to Illuvium themselves, of course, for providing the skull prizing that is used to get the alluvial packs that we use here for Illuvium Arena House League. And then a big shout out to the community as well for helping load up my community rescue with all the alluvials that I use for the community rescue prizing. That entire set of prizing was either from my own alluvials that were extra or community donations to the Silent Events account, which that account in particular never plays Arena, never plays Deathmatch, never plays anything or places anything rather onto the Illuvidex. That account is just there as storage. It's there as a sanctuary of sorts, so that when players need alluvials from the community rescue and they're looking to build their collection, that's where we go. And big thank you to everybody who's helped keep that going. And big shout out to everybody who's gotten some awesome alluvials there from the collection or from the rescue as well. It's been awesome watching your collections grow over the last couple of months. Okay, looks like everybody's loaded in good. And we'll hop into it in just a second's time. Darkstar says, thinks Zico Perico will take this one. I mean, they've definitely won matches of this level before. They are a multi-time winner, I do believe, in House League. A 3-time winner. I knew they've won many times. Couldn't remember exactly how much, but yep, they absolutely have been able to do it before. All right. Without further ado, let's get into the game. This is our second matchup of the day. First one for the Monarch Masters. In this lobby, we have Zico Perico, Matter 1, Gatling, Blazin, Kira, Darkstar, Coyote Hype, and Hunter from Mad Dogs. As you can see in this beautiful environment we have here, this is one of my favorite places to be in Illuvium, even though I can't be there in Obelisk Rising just yet, but I look forward to the day. We're here in Halcyon Sea. The region effect this time is going to be that everybody's getting 2 additional credits every single round. We going to be rich lets you be a little bit riskier if you really want it to play spending, but at the same time, you hold on to those credits, you get up to max that much quicker. So please do be careful, but with all of the new credits that you have now in your pocket. In terms of the weapons for this matchup, let's take a look and see here. We're at level 5, around 5. Let's see how it goes. Blazing, that's not an Inferno weapon. We have Rogue coming out here with that Verdant Cleaver, or the Vinebound Cleaver. In very similar nature, Zico Perico picking up the same thing, so it's going to be 2 Rogues right off the rip. We've got Gatling with the Fire Scion weapon, the Lava Gauntlet coming on through. Kira, are we playing Mud? We've got Sylphid Blade around the corner. High-risk playstyle, potentially. We have Matter 1 spending a ton as well, but with the Earthgrass Scepter this time, your Earth Scion weapon. We've got Hunter from Mad Dogs picking up the Elderwood Staff. They've been playing a fantastic defensive corner composition over the last couple of weeks. Last week was the first time that it cracked a little bit, but otherwise it's almost a guaranteed podium. Let's see if Hunter can hit it. We, of course, then have our winner from the Carablu Cup, Darkstar, picking up the Ember Bastion. It's your Earth Bulwark weapon. And last but not least, the players got shifted around a little bit. I'm trying to see where I've been picked up. I haven't talked about Coyote yet. Coyote has what is arguably, at least in the last patch, arguably considered the best weapon in the game. Strike Boomerang, due to its nature of being able to go for both Inferno Arcanite, but also Inferno Behemoth. Let's see how it goes as we now watch our 2 Rogue players that have not lost a round yet taken to the field. 3 Fire compared to 3 Nature. I think I like the 3 Fire coming on through so far in this early game that Blazin currently has, but in terms of some of the Illuvials that were on the side of Zico Perico is a little bit stronger. The very early Fury, can it somehow take care of the Gorilla? It will not, and that's going to be the Predator bonus damage coming out here from Zico Perico. Going to be the Battle of the Titans winner, and now going to lead this lobby. We have the Australians. They have woken up. They are here, ready to go. Red Fox Amarante, good to see ya. Draknyen, aka Afterwork Gaming, of course, one of the other people that do stream Illuvium very frequently. Check them out, of course, if you haven't done so already. Good to see you both. Hope the coffee's nice and hot, because we're gonna need you awake and ready for what is looking like to be a very stacked Monarch Masters main event. Absolutely, RNG can very well be a thorn in the side. It's just about trying to adapt and hoping that it doesn't bite you too hard, knowing exactly when to pull the trigger. It definitely comes with time, and then it's very similar. Oddly enough, I don't like gambling, but it's very, very similar to poker. There are opportunities where you can play the hand perfectly and still lose. Sometimes those kind of scenarios can happen here in the arena. But you got to give yourself the best possible setup, best possible team to conquer any situation. Let's see if Coyote Hype could potentially be the first one to knock Zico Perico down a peg. We see a lot of beefy units here in this front line for Coyote Hype alongside the Chikoro, so that thing's going to be doing some pretty decent damage up until the point that Gorilla just said nope and deleted it. But nonetheless, there is still the Lynx, there's still the Ranger, there's still the Snail in the back line. Zico Perico will take their first damage here into this one, and Matter 1 going to now take the lead in this lobby. Let's talk about Matter 1 for a little bit as we're getting set up versus Darkstar. Matter 1 and Kira both went absolutely nuts on the Illuvidex this last week. We were talking about it a little bit during this week in Illuvium, where they found a bunch of massive pickups, and I'm curious if we'll see some of them in the game here today. Heck, some of these Illuvials might be borderlining the Monarch Masters main event territory. So for Darkstar in this instance, they're going to be at level 6, so they're going to be the Illuvial down. They do have some firepower actually, though. They're going to try and burst through this Atlas nice and fast. But look at the little mule up in the top here. That polar bear just snuck all the way through, got on top of the Fury. A very unlucky positioning coming out here from Darkstar, and with that, the squishy insides of this team have been exposed, and that will be Darkstar taking some heat. We know they're meant to, or they are the underdog in this one. Let's see how it goes moving forward here. They've got a lot of credit, so you can still absolutely do some damage. All right, speaking of Matter 1, they're going up against Kira. Let's take a look at this one. Both these players up in the top 3 as of this moment. Kira took a little bit of damage early, but they've got their rogues, I think, that they're looking for, and they've got Mud Berserker actually kind of set up as this moment. Mud's not going to be online, but at least having the Berserker, while also having a very strong array of not just rogues, but even tanks, is an interesting mixture coming out here from Kira. The Axon's going to try and back up the Ranger as it stands right now, but all the damage is going to be there on the side of the Monk here for Kira. Let's take a look at these damage charts and see if that's in fact the case. It does look like it. The Revo, though, on the side of Matter 1 has been doing absolutely fantastic work, and the Kookaloo's damage was doing great as well. There is the level 60 Revo coming on through, taking the lead in terms of the side of Matter, but taking the win nonetheless. But the top damage in that fight went over to Kira's Greater Monk here. Now, Zico Perico and Gat still going at it, and Gatling, we're going to be able to take that one. All right, let's go with Hunter. Hunter versus Matter, that'd be 3 Matters in a row. Let's try Blazin. Blazin versus Coyote. Let's see this one. How's the New Balance patch? I have absolutely no idea. You guys playing right here, right now, in the In-House League is the first time I'm seeing this patch in action, but I do love the idea that Shock can start to shred resistances, adding a little extra utility to what has normally been a rather underwhelming affinity or element. Let's take a look at this battle here. Level 6 for Blazin, level 7 for Coyote. They'll have an alluvial advantage going into this fight. But lots of fighters on the side of Coyote, but there is Revenant coming on through here from the side of Blazin. It's looking pretty good for Coyote, I would argue, in this instance. The Lynx got pummeled extremely quickly, and that is just going to be an absolute swarming coming out here from Coyote Hype. Unless that Ranger can say something, it will not be able to do so. So Blazin was again the level down, but some big damage coming their way. Let's go to Matter versus Hunter. This battle's still currently in action as well. And this one's going to be going over to Hunter. I do believe the lone Snail up against 5 is not going to look too good here for the Snail. So Matter 1 had a great start to the game, but is starting to bleed off a little bit, which does allow for Zico Perico to take the lead back in this game. Going for Rogue, but at the exact same time, they do have a Rake, which could potentially allow them to pivot out of this if all things go their way. You could very well do a Rogue build and just keep the Rake inside of it. Of course, the Rake being a Rogue in its own right, so probably asking me, like, why in the world am I talking about pivoting away from Rogues when your main carry is a Rogue? Just the full water style can be that much more devastating, but it is being delayed rather heavily due to Kira holding so many of the pieces, so to speak. So I'm very eager to see what happens during this weapon phase. Of course, players here at level around 13 could very well switch their item if they wanted to. Matter getting their Aqua Blaster, that's their tried and true. Darkstar also getting the Aqua Blaster, but has way more in terms of credits right now. Blazin looks like they're keeping the Cleaver. Zico Perico looks like they're keeping the Cleaver as well as they're going up against Matter. And Matter spends the bank now to try and go after Zico Perico. Zico Perico matching level 8 to level 8. Does not want the win streak to potentially break here. And after the switch here for Matter, they now do have 5 water, so they are very close to getting 6 and well on their way to potentially getting 8. But unfortunately, like I was saying before, that will be heavily contested. This one's looking good here for Zico Perico. While they do have the big guy, the big flood in the background, it's going to be able to hold the line for a second, but that is still up against 5 Illuvials right in their face. So Zico Perico on the charge rather significantly and getting yet another win. Darkstar going up against Blazin. A very close battle here. Darkstar could potentially snag the win in this one, and they will in fact be able to do so. The Toxic Harbinger coming on through and getting them the win. Played 8 water for Tsunami post-patch and it destroyed the lobby. Tsunami chips are probably still one of the most ridiculous things in the game, because you can turn Illuvials that aren't meant to have fast charging Omegas and give them fast charging Omegas. So yeah, Pistol Shrimp, Fisto, there are so many examples where a chipped up Tsunami Illuvial just runs away with the lobby. there's definitely been lots of talks as to how to actually deal with that. Maybe if we're lucky, it would take a little bit of a bigger patch, I feel like, to do that. I would absolutely love to see something like that in the future, though. Now, Darkstar going up against lobby leader Zico Perico. This is a very defensive team going up against a Predator build compared to Vanguard. So there is still a chance here for Darkstar to take this. The tank line held for a very, very long time, but they have gotten to the squishy bits, but that's a lot of low HP Illuvials. Big charm coming out from the Lallura. That was a very close fight, all things considered, but Lallura found the charm they were looking for. JB, even though they are essentially the king of Tsunami, they still cannot find a Tsunami chip for the life of them. That is some incredibly unfortunate luck, if I do say so myself. Let's hop on here with Kira versus Gatling. Kira was originally the player that went for a mass water team, but they've been kind of roadblocked. But what they are very close to is natural Vanguard. They are one away from finding the Lallura, but of course there are more rogues in this team. Zico Perico holding the Lallura as well, making it extremely difficult to actually find that Lallura. We'll have to see if things go their way, but as it stands right now, Gatling versus Kira. Kira seems to be walled out pretty badly by the air units. The Mammoth and the Joker are doing a fantastic job of tanking, and that's going to allow for the Scorpion to just go absolutely nuts here as well. Big win here for Gatling, bringing Kira now to within kill shot. Now, the one thing I found kind of interesting here as we go, Blazin, of course, did go for Rogue as well, but of course got completely contested to the point where they don't have even a baby penguin. But what they do have currently is the other route of Rogue that you can do, or one of the other routes of Rogue that you can do, with the Revenant style, the TB Ruko coming on through. I'll gladly look at that in a little bit, but I want to take a look at Kira versus Darkstar. Kira with a massive upgrade, Malura online, so now there is going to be Vanguard Berserker. That is a devastating team alongside 5 Water. Let's see if this one is a little bit better here for Kira, now that they have a little bit of a tank buster potential. But can Darkstar make the upset and hold the line? So far, so good, actually. The Malura is still there, but that poor little Riptorus is now going to end up falling. Big win for Darkstar. They will get the kill shot onto Kira. GG's, Kira. As always, regardless of where you finish, I hope you have fun no matter what. And there's still going to be community rescue prizing heading on over just for participating. So thank you so much for playing here today. All right, NPC round. Let's take a look at the economy side of things. Where does everybody stand? Zico Perico no longer at 70, but they probably will be after this NPC round. Hunter, quieter game, but they actually found the Monarch. That's a nice little upgrade, but it doesn't necessarily mesh with what was supposed to be a bunker composition. This is now turned into a bunker composition that also has Phantom. That's an interesting spin on it. Gatling over 70, sitting nice and pretty right now with over 54 HP. Blazin versus Coyote Hype. This is going to be the one that we're watching. Both players around that 40 or higher mark. Then Matter and Darkstar, they've spent the bank to get where they are, but they're kind of stepping on the toes of multiple players. Or rather, other players are stepping on their toes. But with Kira down, that does add a bunch of Lalluras into the pool. So we did see Zico Perico take advantage, got their second Lallura. And then how about for a battle at hand here? Coyote Hype, we see the second Furiox coming on through, but they do not have any more credits, I believe, to try and really push for the Scoriox. In fact, they do straight up sell off the Furiox. They do get a ramp fight, though, so a bit of an upgrade here for this fight going up against Blazin. Let's see how it goes. The Rogue's going to dive on through nice and fast into this one. The Fur Knight is going to get absolutely melted here for Blazin. Scarabox short to follow, as well as the Furiox on this side of Coyote Hype. But still, Coyote's looking pretty decent. The ramp fight did some good chunk of damage as well. Blazin trying to see if maybe this Revenant duo can get the job done. The TB Ruko is still doing so much damage. And with that, that will, I believe, be the kill shot here onto Coyote Hype. It will be. We will lose Coyote in 7th place. GG's Coyote Hype. I honestly thought for a second there that Coyote Hype had enough to pull through, but it was not going to be enough this time. Always a pleasure seeing you and everybody else, though, onto the battlefield, so thank you so much for playing. Now, we could lose Matter 1 if things don't go their way here. 15 credits. This is turned from all water into a heavy air-based team. But the flip-flopping is one of the most nightmare scenarios that you could potentially get in an Illuvium matchup. You're spending a bunch of credits trying your damnedest to go from one thing to the other. There is a penguin on the board, but there's even one on the bench, but not going to be enough for the slash-in. This will be tough. Zico Perico on a win streak, 7 rogue. They've essentially got what they want. Rank fight with some decent damage into the corner. It does open up the squishy bits here of Matter 1's team. And with the penguin exposed and the snail exposed, that will be the end of the line. We will lose Matter 1 in 6th place here today. GG's Matter. We hop over to Darkstar. They're up against Gatling. A very close battle as well with a big mammoth coming on through here from Gatling. If it lands one more big stun, that could be huge, but it does fall. And Darkstar on the verge of potentially scoring 4th if they could hang on just a little bit longer. But we are getting to the range now where kill shots can happen from your 20s. So let's be careful, of course. But we have Gatling also right on the verge, or is in the verge here, of a kill shot going up against Hunter. Let's see this team in action here from Hunter as well. This is the first time we're seeing in a little while. The big Blotto now online. So we've got Aegis, 3 Aegis in fact, in play. And it's being spread out actually. It looks like the Ranger's buffing the Singe. The Blotto's buffing the Adorito. And then I believe the Archie might be either buffing the Fernites or the Monarch. Let's see how this goes. Let's get the damage charts out and see how this fight goes. Monarch to the skies. Pyrofield right across the top of that mammoth, but that mammoth is holding in the line extremely well. The damage now bursts onto the Monarch and flies away right at the right opportunity. Rampy takes down the Furiox on the green side. That is very, very troublesome. In fact, the mammoth, though, with the absolute beautiful shunt over into the corner, but now with it just being the mammoth left, this means that Gatling, in theory, will be taking the shot that will, in fact, be the kill shot. Gatling will fall in 5th. GG's Gatling. We now have our top 4 in action, which includes our Carablu Cup winner. Darkstar has made the upset and made it into the prizing. But Blazin is here at the same time. Hunter, Zico Perico, everybody's spending. I do like the strategy that Darkstar went for, though. If you feel like you don't have the alluvial firepower individually, get more levels, get more alluvials onto the board, and sometimes that could be the difference maker. But Zico Perico's gotten that Vanguard style. This is going to be terrifying. The first initial shot from the Sinolf got completely neutered due to the underroots. And that is going to leave the door wide open here for Zico Perico's rogues to just take care of everything else. We will lose Darkstar here, but a valiant efforts nonetheless. How about Blazin? They're within kill shot here as well, going up against Hunter. The TB Ruko doing work once again, leading the charge with over 11k. This might be the most devastating TB Ruko I have ever seen. But it's stuck running around trying to chase this Monarch through pyro fields, and honestly, that Monarch did a damn good job. It's still doing a fantastic job as well. With one more time, the overtime pulse is over 23k onto Hunter's Monarch. But it's not going to be enough. Blazin still ends up winning that one. GG Darkstar. So once again, to reiterate, that is one additional pack being added to your prizing for the 4th place finish. Congratulations. Everybody has essentially spent everything to get to where they are right now. Thankfully, there is this NPC around to allow for the opportunity maybe to find some upgrades. But Blazin and Zico Perico are going to be tripping over each other at least a little bit. But Blazin does have a couple of the alluvials. that they would be looking for. They put a ton of effort here onto this TB Ruko level 42, so this thing is relatively new. Of course, the minimum level for a fully evolved Illuvial is level 40. So the fact that this TB Ruko is 42, this is a rather young TB Ruko, and it is still doing so much damage. But it does have a Revenant partner, of course, with the Vermiliere. Similar situation, but look at those stats. This is an absolutely beautiful Anteater. Then how about the Ramp Fight? Maxed out on Omega power. This thing could absolutely make a dent, but one thing that Ramp Fight can have a hard time with is grouping up rogues and taking advantage of rogue teams. Let's see how it goes. Octius is going to be immediately taken away off the board here for the side of Blazin. The slash and coming on through here from Zico Perico is just doing so much work. Big charm from the Malura in the corner as well. There's the Ramp Fight. It doesn't get its Infernal Skyfall off in time. A valiant efforts, of course, but we will lose Blazin in third place in this game. GG's Blazin. It was a cool spin on the rogue build, being a heavier focus on the TB Ruko. I absolutely love that. GG's. Now Hunter one more time potentially to figure out the opening to get through Zico Perico's team. This Penguin leading the charge on damage, but heck, even the Malura just looking so good. With a Gnarl as well, just being an absolute nuisance in the front line. Beautiful Illuvials from both players. What kind of upgrades can each player make? Honestly, for the side of Hunter, I do not believe there's anything that they can do. What's terrifying is that Zico Perico is like one away from potentially, or two away from getting a Phosphorus, which would just absolutely be the cherry on top here on this composition. Let's see how this goes. Let's get the charts out potentially one more time, unless Hunter has what it takes to crush this. Let's see, big Ramp Fights Omega right in the corner on both sides. It's going to at least take out of the Boris. So that part was pretty good. Honestly, the Monarch doing a great job as well. There is a ton of AoE damage coming on through. Already 12k onto the Monarch. But now that the rest of the rogues have begun to swarm, that will then be the kill shot, which does mean that Zico Perico, once again, let's make that win number 4 for you here in Illuvium Arena House League. Massive congratulations. Awesome matchup once again. Zico Perico found the rogues when it mattered, and they went on an absolute tear, taking the win here in this one. We have Hunter from Mad Dogs in a valiant podium position. Definitely well earned this time, especially after trying to get that got the top 4 last week. Got the back on the podium here this week. Nicely done. Blazin as well, back onto the podium, went for Rogue, was forced to go for Revenant, and hell, they made the best out of it with probably one of the best TB Rukos I've ever seen. Darkstar from the Carablu Cup, making it all the way into the prizing, securing that 4th place spot with a very defensive Invoker style combo. Gatling had so much beef on that team. The Mammoth, the Goliath, the heals as well from the Adorito, but just could not hold up against the Vanguards. Matter One was kind of stuck bouncing, or Kira and Matter One were both fighting each other essentially for the Water Illuvials. They tried the pivot, was too little too late, unfortunately for them. But valiant effort nonetheless. And then, of course, in 7th here, Coyote Hype could not find the roles that they were looking for. Slightly contested by some, and maybe a little bit of bad luck on top of that. But Coyote Hype will be 7th this time. All right, let's get that documented. Quickly fixing that up. 2, 1. Let's see here. We'll get the lobby going here in just a second for the next and final matchup. Fifth, and then there we go. All right. Lobby code on the way in just a second. I'm building that as we speak. Okay. Monarch Masters. Final lobby. Of course, as a reminder, in this matchup, we've got Hector. We've got Thanatos. Wolverine 777. Draknyen. Badul. Sota. G-Hamster. And last but not least, Zico Perico. As the winner of the last lobby, you're welcome to take the bump up. You need the lobby code in YouTube chat, Hector? Or are you able to still see? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who did I miss? There. In there? Okay. Sending now. Stota says, I haven't played in weeks. Please be gentle with me. I wonder if they got their team back from Texan. Is that what happened there? I do believe that they were, at one point anyway, kind of like renting Illuvials off each other. I can't remember the exact deal. There's something like that going on. Of course, that's one of the beauties, or beautiful things about the game having Web3 technology implemented, is that you can make systems where renting teams can be made. And it's really cool. Okay, in lobby, we do have Sota Hype. Draknyen is here, coffee in hand, ready to go. Hopefully Octius warmed it up nice and quick there for you. Got Wolverine 777, Hector, Thanatos, G-Hamster, so we're just missing Badul, and potentially Zico Perico, if they'd like to hop in here. We'll give them a couple moments. It does not seem like you're on my list as of right now, Zico Perico, so when that does happen, just back out and rejoin. There you are, I got you now. You're set. Darkstar with the bet onto Wolverine. I mean, that's last week's winner. It's a good bet. Wolverine always has that funny ability to kind of go under the radar a little bit and then just win stuff. Extremely, not easily, but convincingly sometimes. So Zico Perico is here. We're just missing Badul. G-Hamster, betting on G-Hamster. I would say fantastic self-confidence, but then I look and see what you put in the Discord, and you said, I'm playing, so you're guaranteed to get 7th. Like, which version of G-Hamster am I getting here? Yeah, what a lobby. This is what I'm saying. This is a cracked out lobby. I'm loving this. And of course, one thing I can do with this tool, because I haven't heard from Badul yet, I'm going to peek into the live game, see if they're currently playing. I don't see them currently playing. Not great. We'll fire one other ping. If, for whatever reason, the duel does not, or is not available, we will go back into the previous Monarch Masters lobby and begin firing off offers to take the bump up from there based off of your finishing order. Wait, there was a patch. Yes, there was a patch that did just happen maybe, I don't want to say it, maybe 6 or 7 hours ago. Right before today's events happened. The big things to note: Behemoth got smacked again, Scoriox, Furiox, they got smacked again. Shock now gets rid of resistances every time the lightning comes down on every target it hits. So it just does more damage over time. And then there are a handful of different changes to affinities, Illuvials, ranger weapons and such. A lot more than I can quickly break down here for you, so you might need to quickly take a look if need be. All right, I'll give Badul until it says 453 onto my screen. Oh, in fact, maybe we can take a look at the patch while we're hanging on for a second. Is there any way to level up the Ranger faster than normal? The best way to level up the Ranger is, unfortunately, just, again, firing off into ranked. But of course, since the Ranger's level is based off of the average level of all of your Illuvials, specifically the Illuvial that's in Team Planner slot 1. So if there is an issue where you don't own certain Illuvials, those will always show up as level 1, and those will bring down your level very quickly. But in terms of the Illuvials that you're using, the best way to do it is essentially try to level up everything in the game, as at least getting everything up to, say, level 40 or so. That can be a big jump. There's a lot of people, I think even myself included, that were stuck in, say, like the 30s for the longest time, but was able to get there just by leveling everything up to 40, for example, or almost up to 40. But yeah, if there's Illuvials that you're missing, especially tier 0s, since those Illuvials don't usually get a lot of playtime. Those tier 0 stage 1s especially. Yeah, that's probably the biggest boost you can get. Okay. I have not heard from Badul, so I shall make the offer to second place finisher, Hunter. Get them the lobby code here in a second. Okay, lobby code has been sent to Hunter. Yeah, Sota, that sounds like a godly Valente. Very, very nice. Reem, good to see you. Hope you're having a fantastic day. You have a strong secret comp this patch. Uh-oh. If it's anything based off of the last game, or the last game I've seen you in, there was a lot of fighter involved. But is there something different potentially? We'll have to see. I know it didn't work out this week, but that's all right. All right, just waiting to try and fill in our final spot here. We'll give Hunter to about 4:53, so that'll be another 3 minutes. I'll give him a couple moments here to go in there because I can tend to catch a lot of people off guard when saying this. Or catch a lot of people off guard when giving the bump up after no-shows. So give them a couple moments. What I will say though, if Hunter is not available, next would be Third, next would be Blazin. So Blazin, if you are still here, and Hunter does not give me the okay, please do stand by, because you could potentially play. Okay, stay in that game. Hunter's coming. So Blazin, you're good. You're good. Don't leave. Don't leave. Hunter is on the way. All right, there we go. And there we go. Hunter has arrived. So the lobby is full. This is a devastating looking Monarch Masters finale. Let's get it on. Lobby has been started. Good luck. Have fun, everybody. This should be a good one. Also, while we're loading into this game again, big thank you to everybody for all the support and everyone watching, playing, and everything over this week. Of course, it was a very heavy Obelisk Rising week, but at the exact same time, I do not want to leave Arena in the dust ever. To me, this is still probably one of the best esports out there when it's being played in a very close-knit setting, and I do not plan on changing that. Even when Obelisk Rising is out, I still want to have some sort of competition, some sort of house league every single week, and just keep this going. So I thank everybody for sticking around. I know there's been a lot of new faces as well with Obelisk Rising coming on out, and I definitely invite players, if you're interested in Obelisk Rising, come give Arena a look as well. Hop in the casual mode, see what this competitive setting can potentially be, because when Obelisk Rising does come out, you will in theory have two different types of competitions. The PvE version in Obelisk Rising, where there is the dungeons or boss speedrun style, but then the PvP style here in Arena you could get started with already if you really, really wanted to, which is definitely, at least in my opinion, really cool. I love the fact that the Illuvials that I'm catching now can be used competitively in multiple different fashions, and that was definitely a big seller for me. I'm happy to keep on doing it. As long as I'm having fun, I'll keep doing it. And I give a massive, massive thank you as well, once again, to Illuvium for providing the Illuvial packs necessary so that I don't have to buy anything out of pocket. These are just awesome Illuvials being sent to you, to all of you, just for playing a free-to-enter event. I can't complain about that. That's absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Illuvium, for supporting the community event. Alright, enough jibber-jabber. You ready? Let's go. As soon as the game's ready, we'll get into it. Here we go. Your final matchup here today in Illuvium Arena House League. This is the Monarch Masters main event. In our lobby here today, we've got Wolverine 777 Hype. This is our winner from last week. We have Sota Hype, one of the most winningest players in all of Illuvium Arena House League. I believe as of this moment, how many wins is that there for Sota? 7 wins currently for Sota. Looking to tie Robert Tacho for the most all-time if they can get number 8. Joining us at an ungodly hour, Drac Nyen joining us. Well, of course, one of the other people that do actually stream Illuvium pretty consistently, so please do make sure you check them out as well. Usually they stream on Fridays, Friday mornings in my time. We've got Thanatos, we've got G Hamster Hype, we've got Hector from Mad Dogs, we've got Zico Perico, then we have also from Mad Dogs, we have Hunter. Zico Perico, of course, coming on through from the last Monarch Masters match. They were able to get the win there, and then Hunter taking second. Does anyone know what the best pull from House League prizing was? I mean, we did have a Dark Hollow fully evolved Lynx come out. Was it just this week that just passed on Wednesday? That one was pretty cool. We have seen Rampfires. We have seen a pretty good Sinolf last week, or on Wednesday as well. There have definitely been a couple. I wonder what people remember. Our region for this one shall be Brightland Steppes. Everybody's going to start with 20 free shop rerolls. Lets you be nice and aggressive early, or keep those and save them for late. The choice is yours. As Thanatos and Wolverine take to the battlefield, let's take a look and see what everybody's picking up weapon-wise for this match. Sota. Back to the Sota I know. Picking up that Vinebound Cleaver. Sota Rogue, oh dear God. We have Thanatos picking up the Fire Empath weapon. That's your Flame Warden staff. We then have a handful of Aqua Blasters and a ton of water overall. Dracnien, Hector, Wolverine, all with Aqua Blasters in hand. Zico Perico, looking for Rogue as well potentially, but picking up the Tidal Shiv variant. And then G Hamster with the Ripple Flail. And of course the Water Bulwark weapon. But that is not it in regards to rogues contesting each other either. Hunter from Mad Dogs going to be picking up that one as well. So we could potentially see a lot of water players stepping on each other's toes throughout the majority of this game. How do these players play around it? We'll have to see. A good start so far here for Hunter. They have the tried and true double Lynxes leading the charge. One of them definitely a big tough guy. One guy still getting leveled up here at this 23. But look at the stats on that thing. That's absolutely beautiful. The double Lynxes coming out here from Hunter. Gonna get the whack onto Wolverine to start things off. It looks like Thanatos was able to take care of G Hamster in this instance as well. G Hamster, a player we have not seen in a little while. Good to have them back here in action. I've been accustomed to seeing them with a Scion-based style. We'll see what happens this time, because with the Bulwark weapon, kind of leans more so towards Mass Water, towards Mass Aegis potentially. We'll have to see, but it is going to be contested probably. Probably no matter what. That makes sense, Silent. That makes sense. In terms of credits, as we hit this NPC round, we see the majority of players being extremely patient with their economies as of this moment. The heaviest spender is actually going to be Hector, currently down at 28. But everybody else, for the most part, hovering within the 40s, if not the 50s. Thanatos currently not tied, but up there with G Hamster and Wolverine in regards to being the wealthiest players. And Zico Perico actually in the 60s, so they are currently the wealthiest player there for Zico Perico. What are they cooking up, actually? Let's see. Zico Perico versus Hunter, we've seen before. How about Drac? Drac versus Wolverine. Drac not playing something either nature-based or fire-based as this moment with the Aqua Blaster in hands, because normally I think of Drac, I think of a nature-based team with the Scoriox as a carry, where the Fern is just constantly buffing it. But now with this setup actually here for Drac, this is enabling the Ranger to actually turn up the heat a little bit. We do see around 3,000, so pretty much right up there in terms of the most amount of damage on the team. But even the Fern themselves are doing such work. This Kukulu's coming out here from Wolverine, though, is being so stubborn. It will finally fall. Just one more shot towards the Ranger, and that will be it there. The Fern going to lead the charge with over 7,000 damage done. Drac going to get the win that time. Okay, yep, I saw it, I have to see it, I have not done so yet. Hello, beautiful Arcane Hydrolinks coming on through for G Hamster. Awesome little pickup, let's see it in action here versus Drac. If these Illuvials are all grouped up like this, this is going to be an absolute field day for this Lynx. Let's see how it performs in this instance. All these Illuvials are going to be chasing into the tank line. They do kind of bunch up. This is a pretty good spot. Let it rip. That's going to be the shockwave coming on through, hitting 3, one shot, and that's almost 3,500 damage. How about a second one, chunking it down yet another quarter? It's always super satisfying when those arcane lynxes can find their shot, but at the same time, they are very prone to whiffing. Let's see one more time. Here it goes right through the two Illuvials. The Fern goes down. The Ebb will be short to follow. Never mind, the Fern's going to hang on for a little bit longer. There's one more shot. Over 10,000 damage already from this Lynx, and we're only at round 9. That is incredible stuff coming from G Hamster. Love every single Lynx, absolutely. And I love the fact that the development team has been trying their damnedest to get Lynxes, especially the fully evolved Lynxes, more involved in the meta, making them a team support of sorts. Because with that Lynx as it was as well, with it being a water Lynx, that means every single time that that Lynx fires off its Omega, that is going to be just more and more energy regen being given to the entire team, which is absolutely beautiful. But let's see what Drac can do. They are going up against Sota, who's been on an absolute perfect win streak as of this moment. They do have the Stabbin, level 60, trying to do work. Or I have this backwards, actually. That was Drac's Stabbin. I saw Stabbin, I thought Sota, but I see the rest of these rogues, and now I remember that's Sota. So Sota with the level advantage going to continue to keep that win streak alive. Okay, let's see. Who haven't I rolled with yet? I don't think we've seen Hector and Thanatos. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, for those that want to make the Pokemon reference, Lynxes are basically our Eevees of sorts. Just instead of being able to evolve it to whatever you want in the middle of the match. I mean, I guess you can't really do it on Pokemon either. But yeah, you have one baseline, but then it can evolve into all different types, all different styles. It is pretty crazy. Trying to figure out how I can get my little baby Lynx to evolve in Obelisk Rising, because you know I'd have one of those out at basically all times. Go with Thanatos and Hector. Let's see what's cooking here. Lots of water on the side of Hector, so that Ranger, once again, going to be putting out mad damage. Harbinger out extremely early. Meanwhile, here for Thanatos, Mystics and Bulwarks. This is an incredibly bulky team, but it is missing damage. How will they end up holding? It's just a matter of getting rid of Hector's Rake. That is a very early Rake coming on through from Hector, but it is going to get stunned out by the Appon, which means it will be lasered down eventually. The Appon, oddly enough, doing a ton of damage here into this fight. But how about that big shunt from the Mammoth right into everybody? That's the scary part about Mystics. When things don't go your way, that could be a lot of AoE damage. But with the Ranger, the last one left to go, it looks like the Appon, it looks like the Ranger on this other side here for the green side, for Thanatos, will be able to take that win. That is such an early Rake here for Hector, and I understand now why they decided to spend super early, if they were able to get a couple of dashes early. Considering there is so much mass water on this team, you know that those Thylacines are going to be contested very, very heavily. But now you've definitely gotten yourself the head start, but they're still level 6. Trying to get tier 4s at level 6 is still a very low chance, all things considered. I think it's like a 10% chance to hit a tier 4 in general, let alone if you're trying to hit a specific one. So hopefully here for Hector, after getting this NPC rounds, getting this influx of credits, that they can start pushing towards potentially 7. Level 8's the sweet spot. If you can get to level 8, then you can look for those tier 4s nice and quickly. And we are in fact going to see that. Level 8 coming, or not level 8, level 7 coming out here from Hector as they're going up against Zico Perico. Zico Perico, meanwhile, was also going rogue, but again, they do have the water that can unironically be splashed in. They have Predator, Tsunami Predator. This is going to be scary. So oddly enough, the biggest threat on this field of Illuvials is actually going to be the Ranger. Tsunami Ranger is, with the title shiv, is absolutely ridiculous. Let's take a look and see how it goes. But with the flare coming online for Hector at that last possible moment, that does mean that Steam is now online to allow for that Rake to go absolutely nuts the longer the spike goes. But where's the Ranger for Zico or Perico? Look at this thing zip around like a greater gorilla on steroids. Back and forth, but now it's going up against the Rake. Will it be able to escape? It will not be able to do so. The Rake lives with about a quarter HP. But this is a numbers game up against Hector, and it will be the Chocoral, the unlikely hero, going to be the one winning that one over for Zico Perico. An incredibly close fight, all things considered. Yeah, that Ranger did almost 6,000 damage, but the Chocoral was the one that actually finished the job. At the end of the day, just having some sort of Predator Illuvial survive till the end and being able to get that execute, major difference maker. We'll see Hector one more time as they're going up against Draknien, but first and foremost, I'm kind of got myself a little bit awestruck here by the Dark Hollow duo coming out here from Hector. Two incredibly rare, gorgeous Illuvials. I just had to point that out, because of course, there is Hollow, which is our shiny. Dark Hollow is like a super shiny. It's even rarer than shiny. So to have two that are competitively viable is absolutely insane. Let's see how Drak can hold the line up against Hector. This is also a Tsunami-based team. They have the augment as well, the ambush, to allow them to dive forth like a rogue, get a bunch of additional damage, and just look at how much damage is coming out here from Draknien. The Rake on the side of Hector got immediately deleted, and with the Alfie as well lasering down, while the Riptor just absolutely shreds with the Ranger. Drak will take that rather considerably. Was the level advantage as well to keep note of, but 8 water Tsunami Enchanter. Kirito, you watching? Because I think there might be a little bit of inspiration here. I know that you liked your Tsunami Enchanter, but maybe there's something more to it. Alright, we've watched Hector for a little bit, watched Drak just a second ago. How about we check out our leader? They're going up against Hector. How about we go towards G Hamster and Thanatos? We haven't seen these two in a while. For G Hamster, we do have the 8 water. 8 water Tsunami. And water's still OP, it seems. I'd argue it's still this. I don't know. It very well might be. Let's see how it goes in a situation where everybody is contesting it. Now, Thanatos, meanwhile, on the Mystic side of things, there's a lot of burst damage coming out here on the green side to try and break through the Mystics. But if they cannot get the kill shot, it means that they're just going to get tankier and do more damage. That Ranger is trying its best here on the side of Thanatos to keep that Furiox alive. But of course, these lightning bolts coming on down can go right past the tanks, and it could be problematic, but not problematic enough. The tank line right in your face, the Jokel in your face, and the snake still lives. So it's going to be a big win there for Thanatos. We could potentially see our first player exiting this game if things do not go their way. They have to spend everything in the bank to try and potentially, find a Malura in this instance here. It does look like the amount of water and the amount of rogues has caught up to Hunter, to the point where they have just the baby penguin. They have 2 of the slap-ins, but there's so many penguins splashed across all of these water teams that they just now were able to find Stabbin. But it was such a fast move, the Ranger does not have anything bound to it. There is no Predator buff attached to this thing. Let's see how this potentially goes. Hector Hunter in the green, but they are being absolutely swarmed down, and with that we will see Zico Perico take the win in this one, and that will knock Hunter out of here for the time being. GG's Hunter, congratulations as well on the 2nd place finish in the first Monarch Masters game. Valiant efforts, but you were absolutely contested to no end. I hope no matter what you had fun here today though. Always a pleasure. Next, potentially on the docket for elimination if things do not go their way, will be G Hamster. While they do have an Alfie, they do have the Riptorus, and heck, they have a couple of, or they have a Rake as well. It's a lot of damage, but again, trying to make that final upgrade, that big push. Yeah, this is brutal. I have not seen so much contesting since 1.12 Rogue. Or not even since 1.12 Rogue. Do you remember when they tried to simplify the synergies for the sake of onboarding? And they made Dust Revenant so unbelievably busted that you were stupid not to go for it? This is what it feels like seeing this much blue on the screen. And with there being so much blue, oddly enough, I think the player that's in the best case scenario might actually be Thanatos, because they're the only one going for like a defensive nature build. Level 9 now here for G Hamster. They know to keep themselves alive in this one, they're going to try and get just the swarm going on fourth. But Wolverine did find a pretty big upgrade. This Sinolf is here, so it's going to be Pistol Shrimp PRV Pistol Shrimp. But the problem here for G Hamster, this Alfie is going to go directly into a Flood that is just absolutely happy and more than willing to tank that shot. And with the carries already being targeted down and blown up, I don't think that it's going to be much more here for G Hamster. As the Flood fires off the water, when it rains, it shall pour. And that will be the end of G Hamster in this one. GG's G Hamster. Hector versus Thanatos also happening at the exact same time, and it looks like Hector is going to continue to have a rough time too. I don't know what the heck we can do for Hector. I don't know what it is about House League, but it feels like they've even tried different builds and they get contested every single time. It is almost humorous, but I know this cannot feel good as a player. But still, not out of this just yet. 9 credits. What could they possibly do with 9 credits here? I mean, the only thing I can think of is maybe a Riptorus, but even then, that is very, very tough to try and hit. Zico Perico, all the way up to level 9. They are one of the players with the Riptorus, a very beautiful one at that, almost level 60 onto that fella. Let's see how Hector can hold on. Their back is up against the wall, but at least the Sinolf and the Ranger got away from the wall. These rogues are not going to target them immediately, but once again, Sinolf directly into the Flood. The Flood completely happy to just absorb all of that. Second shot coming on through here from the Sinolf will eventually get evaporated. The Rogue Alfie got into such a solid position and was able to shut it down. Hector will end up falling in 6th place. GG's Hector. And with an incredible battle here for Thanatos, it was such a one-sided win that it actually takes Draknien out of here as well. GG's Drak, with pleasure having you back on the battlefield. Thank you for joining us. I hope you had fun regardless of results. GG is probably my worst game ever. Honestly, I don't know what it is about whatever build you're going for getting contested to all hell, but my gosh. I've never seen, or I haven't seen, such contesting, such water dominance, if ever. Let's see, Wolverine versus Zico Perico. 8 water, Toxic Tsunami, a little bit of a mirror match here, but one of them as a mammoth. That is going to be Wolverine with the big guy in the center, able to help control traffic. But it cannot control where the water beams go. The flanking Alfie does get one more shot off, but it does end up going down. But here comes the Tsunami Ranger. This is the stuff that I'm talking about. This Ranger just zip-zapping away. And with there being 3 left on the board, Wolverine will go down to 10, but is not knocked out just yet. While all of this is happening, while everybody is fighting for water units, Dota feels like they're essentially on cruise control. They've got that Malura, so they already have the Vanguard that they're looking for. Or, yeah, that is Soda's, yeah. And It's just a matter of the Penguin being contested, but with so many players falling now, even the Slashin' is here. It's going to be the Caradulo and the Flood and the Riptorus tanking these rogues immediately, but with the Vanguard buffs already being online, Predator, you need to get that bonus by getting everybody at low HP, but when they absolutely evaporate you, that could very well just render your team moot. How about here Thanatos versus Wolverine? I figured this one would take a little bit longer, but this one's looking a little bit better for Wolverine. Line them up, Sinolf, take them down. That's a big old Scoriox, and the alley-oop coming out here from that Mamu. Going to put some big damage over to Thanatos. The battle is for the podium because Sota looks like they are absolutely in heaven, looking to tie the record as the most winningest player in Illuvium Arena House League if they can keep this up. I mean, this is the thing, right? When you're going rogues, if you're not having your rogues contested too badly, it is still an absolutely fantastic team. And sure, Penguins were contested, but Malura was not. Everybody focusing so hard on 8 water left the door wide open for Sota to get that three Vanguard, and then it was just a matter of time of waiting for everybody else to die. That they've been able to do exactly what they've needed to. The one thing that Sota does not have right now, though, is a bankroll. They have spent essentially everything they've gotten to get up to level 9, get the Fur Knight, so there is some additional support now onto that team, too. But somebody in this matchup in particular will be getting knocked out. Zico Perico in the red, Wolverine in the green. Water, Toxic, Tsunami, but it's Predator versus Harbinger Invoker. And we have, just as that extra layer of craziness, the Inner Limit Breaker. We have Legendary Augments in play. That Ranger going to be going absolutely insane, but the Rake is there for backup. That is going to be the Ranger. It just took out the Rake with the assistance of that flanking Sinolf. And look at this. It's all down to the Mammoth to potentially get this done. A big shunt. The Mammoth is down to half. The Ranger, Omega after Omega, just zipping around. And that will be the end here for Wolverine. They'll get knocked out. Thanatos was not able to withstand the damage from Sota. But Thanatos going after the ghost of Zico Perico did just pick up an Adorius, so maybe if they can withstand the damage from Zico Perico, they can get another shot at Sota. But literally, Sota has summoned Exodia. Berserker's Flurry onto a Slashin is probably one of the most disgusting augment setups that you can possibly get. Double Echo Force Reactor for snowballing. Additional range and attack speed. Plus crit amp. This could be disgusting. But there is an Umber with the Void Cleaver, splashing more damage to more units. Sinolf goes directly into the Revo. The Revo gets immediately out of dodge, so that Sinolf could not do a whole heck of a lot. But the Slash-In just doing absolute work in what felt like seconds. It's over 13k. Big win. Thanatos, did you get the win on Zico Perico? Yes, they were. We have at least one more try. One final battle here in Brightland Steps to finish off our Illuvium Arena House League main event. Everybody has spent basically everything in the tank. For Thanatos, Berserker's Flurry is also here, so additional crit amp alongside the attack speed. The attack range is nice, but Scoriox already shoots pretty far. This team, 3 Mystic, will be diving in onto Magma. The Penguin does have True Sight as well, so the Crunk is not going to stop it. Ramp Fight got a pretty decent spot as well. Inferno Skyfall is going to proc all the Mystics. But then the heals are pretty good. We see the Verdant Puddles coming on through, but there is a lot of damage coming from all fronts. And we don't see this a whole heck of a lot. But here in the Monarch Masters main event, Not only do we see a perfect game, but we have a tie now for the most winningest player in all of Illuvium Arena House League. And that, my friends, is Sota Hype. Congratulations, Sota. Incredible game. Absolute classic Sota. Absolute perfection. Nicely done. Rogues, my beloved, they say that they haven't played in a while. Well, they played what I remember them for. What I knew them for from when Illuvium Pro League was a thing. Absolute destruction. So Sota Hype going to take the win there. Thanatos with an incredible second place as well with all these Mystics. Getting the Adorius online was absolutely awesome as well. Held the line a little bit, but that's just way too much damage. Zico Perico shall be the king of the waters in this instance here with so many players going for water. Everybody tripped over each other, and that's what we'll see here from Zico Perico all the way down to 7th, where we see Wolverine, Dragnyen, Hector from Mad Dogs, G-Hamster Hype. Everybody went for water. And that was a tough pill to swallow. Then Hunter from Mad Dogs also went for Rogue, but of course Sota also had that contested. Everybody was stepping on each other's toes, with the exception of Thanatos, where they were able to get that incredible Mystic team back up and running. But GG's, everybody. That was a lot of fun. Let me write this down here for my records. Fifth. Hector. There we go. All right, let's catch up here with chat here. That was absolutely incredible. When's the penguin nerf? I mean, literally just one other player plays it, and it's usually enough. Not this time, though. Teach me your ways, Sota. Seriously, eh? Must feel nice when you hit everything. That's definitely a thing, too. I get it. I get it. Zico Perico, not only did you win the water battle, but another thing that I did not consider, since you took the bump up, right? So you won the B main and got on the podium for the main event. Nicely done. That is more packs coming your way. I think you probably walk away with the most packs of anybody from today's event. That's insane. Who ditched the Hydro Links? It would have been early on. I can't remember. That would have been a tough sell, though, still. Yeah, Sota equals Rogues. I mean, the Sota Rogue has been gone for what feels like a couple of months. But comes out absolutely swinging. It was G-Hamster that had the links. There it is. All right. So again, a massive congratulations to everybody who's won. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and joined today as well. To give a brief recap of everything that went on today, let's take a look. In the Carablu Cup main event, we did have Darkstar with the win on their debut. Warrior Ace with 2nd, Awaken 3rd. And then 4th in this instance would then be Robert Tacho, I believe. Yep. I did this a little bit out of order, bear with me. Ethan 5th, and then Ballistics ended up being 6th? 7th? Yeah. I mixed it up a little bit here today, so bear with me. But that is your order. The Monarch Masters, the first lobby of Monarch Masters, did have Zico Perico taking the win with Hunter from Mad Dogs getting 2nd. Blazin' securing the podium with 3rd. Darkstar from the Carablu Cup making it all the way up to 4th. We saw Gatling take 5th. Matter 1, 6th, Coyote Hype 7th, and then Kira in 8th. Then, of course, our final matchup of the day, we just saw it. We saw Sota Hype with the perfect to finish the day, and now get themselves tied as the most winningest player in House League. Thanatos right there as well in 2nd place, a valiant effort. Zico Perico again from one Monarch to the next, getting into a 3rd place position onto the podium. 4th place for Wolverine, 5th place for Dragnyen. Hector for Mad Dogs gets 6th. G Hamster in 7th, and then last but not least, Hunter making the bump up from the last lobby, or from the Monarch lobby, getting 8th here today. I hope everybody had a fun time regardless of where you finished, because at the end of the day, this is kind of meant to be the doorstep towards competitive. Get everybody the opportunity to keep practiced with with the competitive side of things, so that whenever something big comes around, you'll be warmed up and ready to go, while also being able to level up your collection or collect extras as you just play the game. So I thank everybody so much for joining me here today, week in, week out, and I look forward to much more. Look forward to seeing you all back onto the battlefield sometime in the near future as well. In terms of streaming here for me, I'll be taking the weekend off, but then we'll be right back at it with more Illuvium coming up Monday. We do have Obelisk Rising. I set a little bit of a challenge for myself. I have 2 hours. What is the best water team that I can build in 2 hours through Obelisk Rising? That's going to be the goal. Tuesday, we'll be back into Illuvium Arena. That'll be my play day of sorts to kind of rank back up. Wednesday, we'll be back with This Week in Illuvium. That is, of course, the news, the community news and highlights. We've got a handful of things, from Kieran's post on X to some patch notes. Of course, we'll break it down a little bit deeper. And heck, what else could be there? Top sales. And then, of course, House League prizing, where we open up all of the packs that you all just earned here in today's matchups. Thursday, we'll potentially be back with Obelisk Rising one more time. Topics still be determined. But then Friday, we'll be right back at it once again with more Illuvium Arena House League. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm having an absolute blast here. And as long as I'm having a blast, I'll keep on going. Because, of course, with the stream, with this channel in general, I don't make a damn thing. Not at all. I just do this because I love this game. I love this community. And like I said before, as long as I'm still having a blast, I'll keep going. So as I'm closing out here, one final thank you as well to Illuvium for providing the prizes to allow for these packs to be earned just through gameplay alone. They've been absolutely incredibly supportive towards the community events like mine, and I thank them so much for that. If this is your first time, or as we're heading on out here for today, drop a like and a subscribe on the channel if you had not done so already on the way out. I look forward to seeing you all again next week for some more Illuvium. We're still just getting started, in my opinion. And I'm still looking forward to just more arena, more time with you guys, and just having an absolute adventure. So until next time, until Monday, I'll talk to you later.